How's it going, guys? Today I am going to be reviewing a 1500 rated Discipline Priest who is queuing Solo Shuffle. I'm going to have a little notepad here for some things that I think you should be doing as Disc, and we'll talk about the spec. I'm really happy that he has his town points open for me. What are things that you should be doing on Disc Priest? I would say number one thing is offensive, and then we'll put, quotations here, when you can. I think this is something that I've actually recently learned, that I think I maybe have been playing a bit too offensive, and I've been like trying super hard to like always get value out of expiation. But basically what I kind of realize is it's just a burst talent. Like, you don't need to always full pump damage. It's great if you can. But it feels, from my point of view now, something where you just are able to get burst out, and it just kind of feels good. You should try and always keep at least one Shadow Word Pain up, or I guess, whatever this Purge the Wicked, for this talent right here. For those of you who are not familiar, this Shadow Word Pain and Purge the Wicked have a chance to make your next penance 50% stronger. Penance and Shield on CD. This is basically going to maximize your HPS. Renew to a minimum, and unless you need atonement on secondary target, or you need to do more healing so it resets the CD of your shield. You have a talent right here that when you press renew, it resets the cooldown of your shield by 1 second, as well as flash heal. So if you shield and then you like end up renewing 2 times, your shield's basically off CD by the time the next global's up. So you wouldn't want to renew the same person twice, so you'd renew someone else, but yeah. Otherwise, renew will you. Radiance when needed, I guess. It's just, it doesn't have to be like on CD. It's just kind of, as you feel. If there's anything more, we'll go ahead and take notes here, but let's go ahead and look at the spec here. This is apparently on HD, and this doesn't look very 1080p to me, so I guess the start of the video is just kind of poor quality. Let's take a look at the spec here. So right now, I've actually personally changed my spec. I do like the double death. I do like that you're playing Palm. Personally, something that I am a fan of. Not everyone has to play it. Mass Dispel are 2 dead talent points if you're playing against something that doesn't need Mass Dispel. I'll look at that in a second. And your build over here, I personally have dropped Harsh Disciplines. I feel like it's just kind of too hard to get off. I think the 2 points in this is better. I'll just show you the builds that I've been playing right now. So basically, this is my shuffle build right now. And what this build tries to utilize is being able to have expiation burst, consistent damage with strong Shadow Word Pains. And these are like my flex points here, basically. If I want like even stronger Shadow Word Pain, this is 5% more Shadow Word Pain damage. And then if you need Massive Spell, you could take these points, put them here. If you feel like you need survivability, you could take a point, put it in Angelic Bulwark. Basically, if I had to take one out of Throws of Pain, I'll probably take all of them out. But you have a couple flex points here. I stopped actually playing Shadow Covenant because it's a bit of a mana hog, and also I'm not a huge fan of the global. So this is a build that I could definitely recommend. But then I also have, if you're interested in another build, this was a shuffle build that I played, something like this as well. If you are a fan of Shadow Covenant, you could go into Schism instead of this if you want. But I actually really like this because it saves you a lot of globals. So these are the builds I've been running and having success with. All right, so I personally, you're queuing into DHDK. I would personally play Big Dome. I think Big Dome's good. I would drop, I think this is Catharsis for it. And I think that your other talents seem fine. I personally have been using Inner Light like over the other one. I queued into a high rated Disc Priest on Shuffle, and I noticed that they were using Inner Light and they were still almost ooming. So I actually have been using Inner Light. So I would suggest maybe trying to do that, especially if you're running out of mana. So I would use Big Dome to this comp. I like Big Dome into like if you're fighting Windwalker DK, DHDK, like a Warrior Cleave, a Sub Rogue, things like that. I think Big Dome feels really good, and I think it specifically feels really good if you have like a caster on your team. So for example, you have a Warlock on your team. This guy's obviously going to get pounded by this DHDK. I think the Big Dome would feel pretty good. One thing that I want to start doing at the start of these videos, or like at least at some point in the video, is I talked about in one of my guides that when you're on a team, as soon as you zone into a game, whether it's rated or not, you need to look at the enemy team and realize what their win condition is and how you can prevent it. So Unholy, Havoc, Holy Pally is obviously a very fast-paced game. They're going to do a lot of damage, so recognize that you're going to be pouring through CDs, pouring through healing. This is going to be, the grip in for the go. You can try and meld the blind, death the blind, grip the grip, things like that. Other than that, you're probably going to try and avoid some Pally CC. You can empty the bubble. They have Hodge. But you could also, look at this and be like, okay, how am I going to help these guys kill? So this is the Demo lock. You obviously want to get the power infusion on him. You can maybe drop some damage in a Storm Bolt because, that's what stun he has. You can maybe set up for a fear off an Axe Toss or something like that. So just trying to like recognize everything that like you have in terms of the tools that you're going up against and what you have on your team. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get started here. What I like to see at the start of the game is just get a shield out, like immediately just kind of get some atonements rolling. Also, I would get the palm on cooldown. Definitely good to get that palm on cooldown. So I would have shield palmed already by now. Still in palms, you could have basically had 2 at this point. This is a little minor, like just nitpicking a little bit, but you do get the palm up. It's a bit of an awkward game right now because no one's really running in, but Shadow or Pain first global, I like that. I would have actually, so this Smite, you're playing Harsh Disciplines. This is why you're going for the Smite. You should prioritize Smite way lower than Mind Blast because you're not going to proc Expiation here. And if you are playing Harsh Disciplines, you're still going to get your Harsh Discipline procs from the Mind Blast. But in this situation right here, what I would do first global is as soon as I get that Shadow Pain up is I would Penance. The Penance is going to spread another Shadow Pain to a secondary target. It's also going to increase the duration of Penance on this guy. So using a Shadow Pain into a Penance when they're stacked up is really nice because then you're just getting a longer duration dot as well as getting it on a secondary target. So it looks like I would not have PI'd the Warrior there if I were you. I think that PI is definitely going to be better on the Demo Warlock. I guess that's something that's maybe hard to understand if you're lower rated, like what class actually gets more value out of PI. I would say generally speaking, casters probably get value out of melee more than PI, with Unholy Decay maybe being the exception there. But yeah, that PI just looked a little preemptive. I still think that you're prioritizing Smite over Mind Blast. Mind Blast is better in terms of offense and in terms of protecting your tree. So right now in this position, I would probably you PS the rep there. That's a really good job. And you guys getting low here. So out of this, it's probably going to be like Raptures is my guess. Let's see if you Rapture here. You Radiance first. A bit of a nitpick, but Rapture is a bit of a better global before Radiance. So you get 2 atonements up here, but it's actually better to do it the other way around. Because when you Rapture, so you're going to get the shield up, and then you're going to get the atonement, then you're going to get the 10% increased direct healing on your next spell. So by having an atonement up from that shield, you get your mastery benefit, increased healing and absorption on targets with atonement. So like that Radiance was basically missing essentially 20% healing, but it also is missing another 10% healing based on the fact that you didn't shield first. So if you come out of this first and then you use a shield, or you Rapture and then you double shield and you get the atonement on both, or you could like Radiant Shield, you're going to get a bit more value out of your healing here. So like this Radiance isn't going to heal for shit. Like you notice how it doesn't heal for shit? There was no atonement. There was no 10% buff up there. So it basically doesn't heal for shit. So it's probably going to be a Rapture here is my guess. So you're still not using Rapture. I probably would have used it by now. I think like Rapture is a pretty like early CDU to use, as well as a Barrier. So like that's one thing I'll say. Barrier early, Rapture early. These are pretty short CDs. PS when needed. I think your first PS was pretty good, but I personally probably would have used a Rapture now. I don't think that you're using a Palm as often as you could, but it's okay if you're not playing offensive. But yeah, I also don't even know if you used a Penance yet this game. You do use the Shadow Covenant here. It's kind of hard for me to see your UI. So I don't know if you have a dot up right now. You want to try and keep that dot up at all times. It looks like it might not be up, and that's okay. Like sometimes it won't be up. But that's another reason why like using that offensive Penance is kind of nice, because it increases duration. So I think you got a nice Massive Spell there, yeah? Or was he... Yeah, you get a nice Massive Spell. That's good awareness there. I think your UI is actually fairly clean. I like that you have party frames, target frames, focus frame. Looks like your interrupt bar is kind of covering debuffs a little bit. You might need to clean that up a tiny bit. I like that you can see your Harsh Discipline procs there. It's pretty nice. So in terms of this first round, you obviously get the dub. I feel like the use of CDs wasn't perfect here. You guys aren't like in mortal danger, but you know, I think just staying ahead on disc is pretty good, especially during their CDs. So the Rapture barrier there at some point would have been pretty good. I don't think you need Big Dome versus this. So if I were to change your talent points that you're changing in the starting at the start, I would probably play Cardinal instead of Catharsis. So I would have swapped out Big Dome for thing here for Cardinal. Once again, I would like to see Palm go out like at the start of the game. Let's go ahead and see. So like basically right now what you're doing with Palm is you're just generating stacks. Like you're just getting free healing at the start of the game because eventually combat will start and you could have 10 stacks of Palm or you could have 5 stacks of Palm with it being off cooldown. You know, and in some cases you literally have 10 stacks of Palm on one guy and 5 stacks on another guy and you just have extra healing. So I do want to see the Palm go out basically as soon as the gates open if you're playing Palm. So yeah, still no Palm here, and you're initiating combat, so you'd have 1 extra charge. It's nitpicking a little bit, but it actually is nice. Palm when gates open, basically. So yeah, Shadow or Pain up first global. I do think that oh, my headset just died there. I do think that penancing very early on, like right after you get that first Shadow or Pain up, is very nice. So I'll just put this in here. Penance the first Shadow or Pain if you can. It's really nice. It's going to extend the duration and it's going to spread it. So yeah, I think you got one there. So that was pretty good. That was good. That's nice. As long as you're playing the talent, which I think you are. So this to me is number one. I don't like seeing these smites there. These smites here are absolutely useless. I need to find your Mind Blast. Is your Mind Blast on cooldown? All right, I'm giving you a bit harder time than I should have. You're not actually playing Expiation. And if you're not playing Expiation, I still want to say Mind Blast is better, but it's not as bad as I'm making it seem right now. But it looks like, honestly, the way you're rotating your spells, you're literally going Shadow Holy, Shadow Holy. It looks like you're just used to, look, Shadow, Holy, Holy, Shadow, like, Holy. It looks like you're just used to Twilight Equilibrium if you played it a little bit. But yeah. So hold on, let me go ahead and see your CDs here. So you got an early barrier down. I am a fan of this. I still think that you're holding on to the Rapture a little too long here. I don't think this Paints Up was necessary. Paints Up is one of those abilities that, you know, if you can use it, so you still haven't Raptured. If you can use it during a stun, you're going to get like extra value, right? Because you can't use Rapture during a stun, you can't use Barrier during a stun. So I do think that you're holding on to the Rapture just a little bit too long here. Possibly falling behind because of it. So like right here in this situation, you should have an extra charge of pain suppression here. Let me see if I can find all your cooldowns. So you have 1 pain sub charge here. Your Rapture's still off CD. Sorry, I'm just having a little bit of trouble here. I feel like you're not palming very much. I don't even know if you used one yet. So yeah. So right now you should probably shield. You're still radiancing before shield. The only reason you would ever want to do that is if you're trying to just get atonements up for like big atonement healing, but you should be shielding before radiance if you can. Like if you don't have atonement up, you don't really want to radiance. You want to shield and then radiance if possible, or renew then radiance or whatever. But yeah, probably shield. Get a fear there. That's nice. Why is the DK dying here? So he has no shell. You still have, so you're stuck in this, which is unfortunate. You get the PS there, which is nice. To be honest, this is going to sound really crazy. You probably could have pinched the life swap here. He's pain supped. It's looking really scary, but I genuinely believe that if you press this power word life here while he's at 15% in pain sup, you're going to put yourself in a position where you could hold on to the swap. So as a general rule of thumb, if people are this low and you have the power word life available, you can maybe try and squeeze out the power word life, especially if defensive cooldowns are up. Like if he's got no pain sup here, you're mashing that swap. But I think the pain swap gives you a pretty fast thing there. So good use of power life on yourself there. See if the warrior's falling behind. So you're pressing powered shield there. I still don't think you palmed yet. So definitely not using palm enough. Palm would be getting pretty good value here. It looks like it's really hard to say if you're being a bit too aggressive, because I do feel like you're falling behind. I think that's your first palm you got here. It's possible you're being a bit too aggressive. It's possible. So right here, you do want to try and sneak a penance in, but there's probably a CS available, so you got to be careful. You're sitting on 3 stacks of harsh disciplines. If you are insisting on playing in harsh disciplines, you should play powered solace so you can sneak in that stack as an instant cast because it would actually be pretty helpful. Like for example, right now you're on 3. If you just pop a solace, you're just going to get a big penance. I want to see when you use this rapture. You use the rapture right here. So this is not a bad rapture. This is not a bad rapture at all. I just think that it should have been used a little bit earlier, like right around the same time you used a barrier. Um, okay, very nice. You still have a dot up. This is good. I don't think you're like overusing renew by any means, so I think that's fine. Um, good powered life there. Good palm there. Radiance there. That's good. Where's the radiance charges at? Okay, see, man. Personally, I this is totally up to you. Having something over here, you are playing Solace. Wow, I just couldn't see it on your action bar. You could just use this here for another thing. I feel like personally, having stuff all the way over here, I feel like is distracting. Like in terms of where you're looking. Like look at the center of your UI. This is your command center. You got your party frames, you got your action bars, your frame, target frame, focus frame. Uh, this might be covering your cast bar a little bit. Okay, no, it's not. And then you have your arena frames, and then you have to just slide all the way to the right to see if you have a radiance charge available or a shadow covenant or a solace. I feel like that'd be much easier to see if it was just kind of, nice and center for you. All these other things like are probably irrelevant, but I feel like those things are something that you might want to slide over on your UI. You have very good powered life usage. You're definitely not falling behind with that. Shield should go up here. Okay, so what was the last global you used there? I feel like you had a powered shield. I want to see what... Okay, so you use a flash heal. What's the last global you use here? You're on global and you don't heal him. You dispel. Okay, so that was obviously the wrong global there. You could have maybe had swap here in this situation. But yeah, so powered life, and then you use the flash heal. And in this situation, you could press renew to try and reset the cooldown of your powered shield, but you press dispel, I'm pretty sure. But your powered shield's like basically off CD, so obviously he's gonna die here. So you could have shielded there, then you could have got the flash heal, and then you're just buying time for that powered life. So powered life, then you get the shield here, then you get the flash heal. You also had PI available here. Did you ever use the power infusion? Yeah. No, you didn't have PI. Excuse me. It actually just came off CD. I want to see where your powered barrier cooldown is. I'm having trouble seeing it. It's just dang. Where's your powered barrier cooldown? Okay, so it's over here. So if you raptured at the start of the game, you would be this close because you this is 3-minute barrier. You'd be like right here for where your next rapture's coming up. So you'd be really close to your next rapture. If you pinch that life swap, you would have had life swap in this situation if you needed it. Although you may have been able to keep him alive anyway. So yeah, basically just, a bit better cooldown management and you are going to be able to take these games. Or at least this game. Not bad. Not bad at all. Definitely want to palm more. Is that something that I palm more often? So the things that you should be doing like on CD, in my opinion, as shield, palm, penance. So penance is actually above palm, but you want to make sure if it's safe to cast. So that's kind of like what it comes down to in terms of your instance. And then you have Radiance, oh shit button. All right. So versus this, I would probably be Cardinal. I think you might not be getting the best value out of Harsh Disciplines, personally. I know you're trying to cast really early on, but yeah. So still want to get the palms rolling at the start of the game. Obviously, like you can't change it, so I'm just seeing if like you're kind of doing it as you go. But yeah, still no palm up, and you definitely want to get that rolling. Not the biggest deal, but it helped. Oh, you got the palm up. Very nice there. Very, very nice. Could have had a second one immediately, which is not bad. Get the shield rolling here. You should PI Demon Hunter in this situation, I do believe. So you get the PI up early. I like that. This is like such a clusterfuck. That's a really good barrier there. Just, bunch of piss going on. Go for a fear here. That's very nice. So in this situation here, you should be a pain sup. I think you were a bit slow to pain sub, but it's okay. Because you didn't have to trinket. The fact that you don't trinket there is good. So I still think this would be a prime time to rapture. Could have maybe you could have maybe death that, but that's okay. This is good rapture here. You should get powered life with this rapture. So you definitely didn't have to swap here. Look at this shield. You have a powered life right here. This guy's at 45% health. So maybe a bit panic on the swap there, and you still have rapture up. So that guy's HP is never moving. So you definitely didn't have to swap there. Looks like you don't have any dots up right now. Falling behind a little bit. Definitely want to try and at least keep one up. It's pretty important. I can't see your Shadow Fiend. I don't know where your Shadow Fiend CD is, but oh, nice, it's on CD. I was gonna say you probably want to throw that out with your PI. So you're already doing that. Casting these smites is just horrifying to me. I don't know if this guy has CS available. You definitely might need to fix this. You can't even see their cast bars. You can massive spell this bop, but you're in a lot of trouble. Go for the penance here. It looks like you screwed up one of your radiances. Sometimes that happens, or your powered life. Let me see what happened here. You just did a no. Yeah. Did you desperate prayer here, or did you get rallied? You might have got screwed there. I think you got screwed on the rally, actually, so maybe not your fault. Yeah. He rallies you out of low range, and then you powered life yourself because, yeah, that's unfortunate. So not your fault here. I like the penance there. I think I just need to see, like, more shields and palms going out. Like, I really think you just want to shield and penance and palm on CD. Just get the healing pumping. And then if you need more shields, that's when you're going to renew. And then you keep the dot up. You do have a dot up right now. That's very nice. So you still have a pain sub charge. You use it there. Trinket Death the rep. That's an excellent play. No problem with that. Do you have Radiances available? Let me look all the way over here on the right-hand side of the screen to try and figure it out. You have 2 charges of Radiance. Definitely a good time to be using them here. So yeah, just kind of tripped up on your own healing there. I mean, you got 2 charges of Radiance in this situation. So you definitely want to make sure you're looking at that as your oh shit button. You kind of got screwed on your powered life this game. Not really your fault, but I do think that your basic rotation is just not there. And what I want to say to you is, because I feel like I was having trouble with this before literally today, be a healer first and be a damage dealer second. Get your team topped. Shield, penance, palm, mind blast. Like, just get in that rotation of just pressing shield on CD, pressing penance on CD, pressing palm on CD, and if you're still dying, then you want to look for radiances and renews. So I do think that, like, just your rotation's off. You should be PIing Demolock here. And this is a big barrier game. This is absolutely a big barrier game. So right now you're still, I believe, you're Catharsis or Dark Arc or something. You would drop Cardinal this game, and you would go big barrier. I would still be playing with an Inner Light, just because, like, if you're spamming those heals, obviously you want to not Someone asked if I think Palm is mandatory. I think it's good. A lot of people don't. That's okay. But if you're gonna play it, I'm just giving them advice on how to play it. But I think it's definitely good. So still not getting the palm out. Would love to see it. And yeah, so should get the Shadow of Pain out right here. Excellent. You dot the pet. You could have done the same thing there by just penancing the Death Knight. And what that is going to do is, like I said, increase the duration, and it's going to spread. So it's going to save you the global, but it's also going to give you an extra 6 seconds of time on this dot, which is just more uptime. And that's nice. It's definitely really, really nice. Also, yeah, I mean, I think Harsh Disciplines is a bit unfortunate. So this is a good sit on this Hodge. I'd like to see a barrier first global off this. Boom. Actually fucking perfect. And then the PI goes up. I like that. And now it's Rapture time. Like, this is just Rapture City right here. Taking a lot of damage. Not a bad Radiance. I think you're just not rapturing early enough in most scenarios here. Rapture would just kind of count. It's such a good way to just counteract all this damage. You know what I mean? So there comes the Rapture. And to be fair, you haven't taken too much damage. I would have liked to see it a little bit earlier, but this is still a good Rapture. Still value. Looks like you're using Palm a bit better this round. I want to see a Penance come out on this global. So you went for a Flash Heal instead. This is just like, yeah, Penance on CD. There's no reason to be Flash Healing over Penancing. The Warrior's almost dead. Could maybe snuck a death in on him here. You have a palm and a penance ready. I don't know. It looks like you death that. That's really good. Use PS, save trinket there. That's absolutely fine. I don't know if you have a grip available, but it's also fine to wait until he ports and then when they reconnect on the port. So you have penance available. I still feel like, yeah. You might have been holding on to this. No, there's no reason to. I said you might have been holding on to that penance until you proc the harsh disciplines. And if that's true, okay. If that's true, I think that might be a little bit of a bait. Just feel free to use that penance at 3 stacks. It's not going to consume the 3 stacks. But not a bad round. I feel like you're doing a pretty good job with Deaths. I just think that the rotation is just not super crisp right now. And it's interesting. Like, it's crazy to me that this is the third VOD that I've reviewed. I reviewed a 1200 Shaman, a 1600 Evoker, and now like a 1500 Disc. And it feels like the main thing that's holding these players back is just the simple rotation. Like, you're using cooldowns, you're pressing death on CC, you know? It's actually, I really think that the awareness is not bad. It's just not min-maxing your abilities. I like that you're going on the Paladin here. I still don't think these smites are super worth it. Death there. This life swap is good, but only because I think that you may have gotten yourself in a bit of a sticky situation here. So as soon as you see this spear from Warrior, it should just be imprinted in your brain to just press barrier. It is just a perfect trade. A 1.5 minute cooldown for a 1.5 minute cooldown. You're not playing short dome, so it's 3 minutes, but it's just, it's perfect. I still think too slow to Rapture here. Death on the Fear. This is a good reaction on the life swap to get yourself out of trouble. You could put a little root on the Warrior here. Wouldn't be bad to see the Void Tendril in the situation when Warriors connect to you. You got pretty aggressive that game. But yeah, I really think one of the biggest problems right now is just rotation's a bit off and Raptures are just a little bit late. But not a bad round. Not a bad round at all. Definitely want to get the palm rolling. And final round, do you get the 4-2? So these guys might be disconnected or doing some weird stuff. Okay, so they're in here now. You got 2 Shadow Pains up. This is good. This is definitely a... You could actually PI either here. I'm not sure. Looks like you're trying to barrier, if I am understanding your mouse. There's the barrier. I like it. Really good. Grip here, sure. This guy just won't go near barrier. He's allergic. It's all good. Pain stuff there. I don't think the pain stuff was super necessary. Not with the Rapture up. Yeah, I mean, this pain stuff is just not necessary. I feel like you're undervaluing Rapture a little bit in a sense because I've seen you swap through Rapture now as well. Rapture is really powerful, and it's even more powerful if you shield after penance. Like, if you penance right here into another shield, this guy is getting the fattest shield. But I feel like you're not penancing on CD enough, and I definitely would like to see that more. So right here, you know, penance is still off CD. Obviously, this guy's on you, though. But, yeah, just... Unless you're being offensive, it should just be shield palm on cooldown. You have a 7-stack penance now, so I would love to see this go out. Went out for damage, not bad. Radiance. So your next shield should be really big. Oh, I hate seeing what I just saw. That really stinks. So what I really don't like about this, and what I don't like about Solace in general, is you have a 7-stack well and woe, and if you use Solace after this, you take away, I think it's 35% healing on your next shield to make it do 35% more damage on your Solace, which is just not a fair trade, man. Like, that hit for 20k, but you just lost 35,000 on shield. This would have been like 100k. Like, you're missing all this on that shield. I really don't think you should ever. So you death this rep, great job. I don't think you should ever use your well and woe on your penance. You want to make sure you always shield that off first. But I don't think you should even be using Solace in the first place. Oh no, you actually have to use Solace with harsh disciplines. But yeah, if you want to play harsh disc, that's fine, I guess. What CDs do we have available here? So these pain stepped really low. I don't think I've seen you use... No, you did use life grip at the start of the game. It was a good life grip, okay. So right now you're just struggling to keep this guy alive. And as you're struggling to keep this guy alive, there's a few buttons that are really important. Shield, penance. Palm is the least valuable out of all those, and you press palm here. That is not the right global. You're flash healing here when you have shield and penance available. And you have swap available. Does he die? You got, yeah. Shield, penance, palm, in that order, make sure you could cast the penance. And I mean here, I'm surprised you didn't swap because you actually had a really good showing in all these other games with how you use CDs, but I mean, you must just not have realized you had it off CD here. So, yeah, I would, a couple things I would do. Number one, just practice the rotation, man. Now, if you're recording your games, you could sit here and watch yourself play and be like, okay, this guy's dying. What do I have available? I have shield, I have penance. I should use one of those. You press flash heal, wrong. Rapture, definitely rapture earlier. And I would clean up the UI a little bit. I would like to see this over here, possibly this over here. If you want to play harsh disciplines over expiation, honestly, the rating you're playing at right now, you probably don't need the damage to carry, so you could. But just Mind Blast on cooldown because it's like a no risk spell. I also don't think you're getting a ton of value out of Shadow Cove. So you could move these 2 points into Borrow Time, and it's actually pretty nice. If I were you right now, I would take these 2 points out of Contrition and put them in Borrow Time. I feel like Borrow Time is pretty good. Overall, not bad. I really, it's kind of crazy to me that, and I already said this, that the thing that seems to be holding players at this rating back that I've noticed so far, 3 for 3, is just not doing the rotation correctly. It's something to me that is like the most simplest. Like you're deathing crowd control, but your healing isn't right. You know what I mean? Like you have the awareness, so that's you're in a good spot. I think if you get your healing in a smooth rotation, I see no reason why you can't shoot up to like 1800, 2000 rated just by healing. So I think maybe you might be a bit over offensive. I want to see a lot less smites. A lot less smites. Like a lot less. Like almost like 0. You know what I mean? I think you did a fairly good job keeping a Shadowed Pain up. This is something that you really need to improve on. I don't think you're shielding or penetrating nearly enough. Your renew management is, I feel like since you're not using these enough, you're also not using this enough, but you don't need to use this enough. You just, this is like a, oh shit kind of thing. I feel like I want to say you were pretty decent at using Radiance. Let me see what happened this last round. Did you have 2 charges of Radiance when this lock died? I hope you had no charges of Radiance when this lock died is basically what I'm getting at. So he's PS here. You have 2 charges of Radiance. Yeah, you have, so yeah. I think that part of the problem is it just is over there. So like Radiance when needed, you need to make it more visible that you have it. Like I swear if I were you, man, the first thing that I would do is fuck these mind controls, bro. Your first 3 buttons right here, if this is what you're looking at, should literally be shield, penance, palm, radiance, life. Like those should be the first things that you see, all in that order. Like, oh my god, what buttons am I gonna press? Okay, I have no shield, I have no penance, I have no palm. Boom, I pressed radiance. Like, just lined up just like that, make it super visible. A small UI change like that could go a very, very long way. Definitely need to, your barriers are good. The way you have been using barrier is the way you want to be using rapture, just early. Palm when the gates open up. I really think penetrating that first Shadow Pain, not a huge deal, but it feels really good to do. And yeah, I think overall not bad, man. I think you're gonna be able to really improve from this. So I hope that helped for everyone that's watching. And yeah, thank you very much for submitting the video.
That you never be